I underpriced my dog treats for years, and it almost cost me my business. Have you ever looked at your treats and thought, no one's gonna pay that much for this? Because I definitely did. In fact, I underpriced my dog treats for the first maybe 1 or 2 years, and honestly, it almost put me out of my business. So if you're pricing your dog treats based on what everyone else is charging, or you're afraid people won't buy because your prices seem too high, or not sure how to calculate and cost and price your dog treats, this video could save you from making the exact same mistakes that I've made. Hi friends, I'm In Young, founder of Dog Bakery Academy, where I help aspiring and existing dog bakery owners start and grow profitable dog treat businesses. And if you're struggling with pricing your products, you're not alone. So let's get into it. So this is the mistake that almost cost me my business. When I first started my dog bakery, I did what most people do. I calculated my ingredients cost, I looked at my packaging cost, and I completely ignored what those numbers were telling me. Instead, I looked at what everyone else was charging and thought, well, if they're successful, they must know the magic number of how to price their treats. So I copied the market, which is a huge mistake. What I should have done was price for profit. Because here's the truth, you can't build a sustainable business if you're only charging enough just to survive. You need healthy margins. You need room for growth. You need room to make mistakes, and you definitely need room to actually pay yourself, which is what a lot of business owners forget to do. So for a long time, I was working incredibly hard, but not making the money I should have been making. And eventually I realized the problem wasn't my products, the problem was my pricing. So why do most dog treat business owners underprice? For me personally, I think there are two big reasons. Reason number one is fear, specifically the fear that no one will buy. Maybe you've thought things like, this seems expensive. What if customers think it's overpriced? What if they walk away? And I used to think that too. But here's what I learned. What feels expensive to you may not feel expensive to someone else. And if someone thinks your products are too expensive, they're simply not your ideal customer. Not every product is meant for every buyer. So I'm going to give you an example. One of our best selling products was this tiny 3-inch handmade apple pie for dogs. At first, I sold it for $4, then eventually I raised it to 5, mainly because of the ingredients and it was labor intensive. So now when you really think about that, you can buy an entire 8-inch sized human sized apple pie for around that price. So on paper, it sounded crazy, but here's the crazy part. That little apple pie became one of our best sellers in our dog treat company. At one annual pet expo that we always exhibited at or we vendored at, we sold over 500 of those apple pies in a single weekend. 500. People were lining up for them. People that who had bought from us in previous years came specifically for those apple pies. Why? They were buying an experience. They were buying something special for their dog. Plus, it was super cute and Instagram worthy. They were buying joy, purchasing for that bonding time and feeling joy with their dog. And that's exactly what many pet parents are looking for. Here's something I always remind my course students. People spend money on what they value. Here's another example. Think about the viral $20 smoothies from Erewhon, or the famous model bakery that sells a dozen English muffins for around $50 on Goldbelly. People buy them, myself included, not because they're the cheapest option, but because they want them. And the same thing applies to dog treats. Because nowadays, your pet isn't just your pet, it's a family member that you want to spoil. It's your baby, and you want to give them everything that you can. So, your job as a business owner isn't to convince everyone to buy. Your job is to create products that your ideal customer loves enough to purchase. If you never give people the opportunity to buy premium products, you'll never discover how many customers are actually willing to pay for them. So, what should you actually be pricing? So, let's talk about how pricing should really work. When calculating your product pricing, there are three major categories you need to know. Number one, Ingredients. This includes every ingredient and every measurement used in your batch, not just the major ingredients, everything. Number 2, labor. Your time matters. I'll say that again. Your time matters. How long did it take you to mix, bake, decorate, package, and prepare the treats? Your labor has value, and you should not discount that. Number 3, packaging. This includes everything that goes into packaging your products. The bags or boxes, labels, ribbons, stickers, thank you notes, anything that goes into getting that product into your customer's hands. When you add all of these costs together, you get your COGS, which is cost of goods. That number is your starting point, not your selling price, your starting point. From there, you mark up your products to create healthy profit margins. If you'd like help costing and pricing your dog treats, I include a product pricing calculator spreadsheet inside my courses to help you confidently calculate your costs and determine your pricing. Next is understanding MSRP and wholesale prices. Now let's quickly talk about wholesale because this is where many people get confused. Let's say your retail price or MSRP is $14. MSRP simply means the price a customer would pay on your website or in a retail store. If you decide to wholesale that product, retailers typically purchase it at approximately 50% off MSRP. So if the retail price is $14, the wholesale price would be around $7. I know what you're thinking. Minyoung, that's a huge discount. How am I going to make money? I understand it is, but here's why. Retailers need that margin. So when they bring your products into the store, they're the one taking all the risk. You're getting paid up front and they're investing their money up front. They're giving your products shelf space. They're introducing it to their customers. And if it doesn't sell, then guess what? They're the ones holding that inventory and potentially taking a loss. And again, meanwhile, you've already been paid. So that's why healthy pricing from the beginning is so important. You need enough margin to support both retail and wholesale opportunities to keep your business scaling. When it's done correctly, it's a win-win relationship for both you and a retailer. You make money, the retailer makes money, and the more dog get your treats. So everyone wins, win-win situation. If there's one thing I want you to take away from this video, it's this. Your pricing isn't just a random number. Your pricing determines whether your business can survive, grow, and thrive. And remember not to price based on fear, and don't price based on what everyone else is charging. Price based on your costs, your value, and the future you're trying to build with your business. Because the goal is to build a profitable business that gives you freedom and longevity and to live your dream life, whatever that may look like for you. Again, if you need help costing and pricing your dog treats, I can help you in my Dog Bakery Academy courses. The link is down below. Oh, and one more thing. I know when you're well into your business and maybe you're not having a great day or sales month, and your immediate reaction is to just slash prices, that is just not a good idea because I don't want to say cheapens, but it lowers the value of your products. Not to say don't ever have sales, but to constantly have sales because of your fear that no one's buying, it triggers this response. Your energy goes behind it, right? And so your customers will feel that and then repel them. That makes sense. I'm guilty of it too. And whenever I sell from that energy, I end up not really selling, right? So stand true to your pricing, stand true to yourself, and you have nowhere else to go but to skyrocket. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment telling me what pricing challenges you're currently facing in your dog treat business. Thank you so much for watching, for being here, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!